This is Walther, PPKS 380. First range report. All right, we're back out at the beautiful Banner shooting range today. Today, we get to do something a little different in that we're shooting a firearm we've never shot before. We've shot some similar firearms, usually when we're trying to play Jimmy Bond on a budget with our Astra, but today we're shooting the real thing, the Walther PPKS in 380 ACP. This has a single stack 7-round magazine. The magazine we're using today has a little pinky extension on it. We have gongs we're shooting at today. The gongs are set up at about 13 to 15 yards, somewhere in that range. We do a few magazines through this PPKS at the 12-inch gong set up out there and see if we can put some hits on the target before the mosquitoes get too many bites on us. Here we go. Now, one thing that is nice about these Walther PPK pistols is on the side, I'll superimpose a picture since it's opposite the camera, is it has a safety decocker. So when you use the safety, you'll notice it also decocks the pistol and it also disengages the trigger. When you take the safety off, you then in double action mode, where your first shot will be double action, your subsequent shots will be single action. And of course, you can also manually cock the hammer if you'd like. Though let's do our first shot from double action to assess the double action trigger. Another interesting feature I didn't know these pistols had is on the rear of the pistol beneath the rear sight, which I'll superimpose a picture here, there is a loaded chamber indicator, which is just a little button that sticks out maybe 1.5 millimeters to let you know as a visual, and a tactile indicator that the chamber is loaded. Here we go. First 7 shots through the pistol, first shot double action. Okay. We'll have to check the primer on that one. Okay, and we're empty. Okay, we have a decent primer strike on it. This could be just a bad round. Let me put it back in the pistol and we'll give it another shot. 5 of 6, including the double action shot we hit the gong. Double action trigger, I would say, is a little stout, but certainly not the worst of the double action triggers I've ever shot. That's for sure. Okay. Let's do another magazine here. I'll reload on camera to try to save time. And talk about the firearm a little bit. Single action trigger is good, though it seems like, and I'll have to confirm on our second magazine, that where it stops going forward is where it resets. It doesn't have like a large sweep after the reset point. And I'll see if we can even show that in our still images, where you can kind of see here that the trigger does not go forward like it does on some firearms. All right, here we go. Second magazine. It's hard. You don't notice when it locks back either, which means you got to be good at counting. Not one of our strong points. Though it looks like we still managed to put a few hits off the gong. We'll count it up, though. So far, looking like a good little pistol. I like it. The Walther PPKS in 380 ACP is a single stack magazine fed double action to single action, blowback operated pistol, chambered in 380 ACP. It has an overall length of 6.1 inches, height of 4.3 inches, width of 1 inch, and weighs in at 19 ounces unloaded. The firearm has a 3.3-inch stainless steel barrel. It features a fixed blade front rear sight with a fixed notch rear sight. The pistol has a safety that also decocks the pistol, and the trigger is a double action to single action trigger. The pistol we're shooting today is chambered in 380 ACP. It is excellent for home defense, personal protection, and even espionage in cinema. The Walther PPK series pistols were introduced in 1930. The police pistol, or PP version, was the first pistol with a double action, single action trigger and a rotating safety decocker. The PPK-S, or sport frame, is a 1/4 inch longer than the PPK frame. It also increases the capacity from 6 rounds to 7. That S-line enabled Walther to comply with the Gun Control Act of 1968, allowing them to sell the firearm in the US, which is the largest market for the pistol. Newer versions of the pistol, like the one we're shooting today, have a longer grip tang that better protect the shooter from the infamous slide bite that the earlier versions of these pistols were known for. The PPK-S features stainless steel construction. It also has no external slide lock, meaning to lock the slide open, you need to use an empty magazine in the firearm. It has been produced under license in the US since 1983, with Walther Arms beginning production in a US manufacturing plant in Arkansas in 2019. You might be wondering, what is the difference between the PPK-S versus the PPK? The PPK-S is a marriage of the PP pistol frame with the PPK slide and barrel. This was done to get around that Gun Control Act. The PPK-S is 4.1 inches long versus 3.9 inches long for the PPK. It's also slightly heavier at 19 ounces versus 17.2 ounces. That little bit of extra size gives it a capacity of 7+1 versus 6+1. The extra size and weight of the PPK-S gave it enough points to allow it to be imported for sale in the United States. Now that we have some notes out of the way, let's return to the features. Here we can see the fixed front and rear sight of the PPK-S. You'll notice the front sight has a red dot, and the rear sight also has a red square to help line up the sight picture. I would say the sights are a little smaller than I expected, though they are very accurate and at a size that makes it easy to concealed carry without snagging the sights on your draw. The double action and single action trigger on the PPK-S are both very smooth, though maybe a little more stout than some would prefer. The double action trigger comes in around 13.4 pounds, while the single action is around 6.1 pounds. The safety decocker on the firearm is a sweep down safety. You sweep the safety down to engage the safety, which will also decock the pistol and disengage the trigger. Sweeping the safety up removes the safety, enables the trigger, and has the firearm in double action mode for its first shot. You can manually cock the hammer. One feature of the PPK that I didn't know was there is the loaded chamber indicator. As you can see from these pictures, beneath the rear sight, above where the hammer hits, is a little pin that, when the chamber is loaded, will protrude about 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters, giving you a visual and tactile means of telling when there's a live round in the chamber. One other feature of the PPK series pistol that's not obvious unless looking at the field strip view is the fixed barrel. Now, you don't see a fixed barrel on larger caliber firearms, though there are those out there who believe this fixed barrel is one reason for the very good accuracy most see out of their PPK style pistol. And finally, for those curious on how does Jimmy Bond on a budget stack up versus the real thing, here we can see how the Astra Constable 2 sizes up versus the Walther PPK-S. The Walther PPK-S is a little smaller, a little more concealable, and dare I say, maybe even a little better built. All right, let's do one last magazine through the PPK-S here. drop our empty magazine for locking the slide back. I will do 4 shots at our center mass of our gong, silhouette gong. The last 3 shots I'll do at the cranium zone on that silhouette gong. Here we go. First shot, I will do double action. Okay. Do one more here. Okay, we got a light primer strike on the first one, it looks like. Okay, all of our hits are on the silhouette target. Put 1 shot in the vital center. Now we're going to do 3 at the cranium zone. Demolished. That's pretty good. I like it. Sights, very good. Trigger, the reset point would take a little getting used to, but also trending in the very good side. Overall, I would say it's a good firearm. Might need a little more breaking in for the light strike action. I believe only a handful of magazines were fired through it before we could check it out. So I would say it's far from broken in. We've come a few magazines closer. So maybe we'll get to revisit with this one in the near future and see how it performs in that regard once it's better broken in. Before we dig into the conclusion to today's video, I'd like to first give a shout out to Lane, a regular at the range and a member of the crew who purchased this PPKS brand new, let us shoot it, and encouraged us to do a video on it for the channel to add to our 380 collection of reviews. Thanks, Lane. Not only do we appreciate you letting us shoot this new PPKS, but also for your support of the channel. You rock. Digging into the conclusion to today's video, the PPKS, while it's a design that's 95 going on 100 years old, it shows no signs of slowing down. It does have a little bit of a capacity disadvantage in today's double stack magazine capacity fed enamored world, though that single stack nature of the firearm makes it, in my opinion, a very concealable pistol that many people, particularly those with, say, smaller hands, will find more comfortable to hold and to shoot compared to a larger double stack pistol. The pistol holds and points very naturally in the hand and is very easy to use, and probably benefits from some of that renowned German engineering to where it's a very smooth operator. The trigger is very smooth, the action is very smooth. You did see a couple light primer strikes in today's video, though my gut, with its Swiss cake rolls, tells me that's more of an issue with the firearm needing to be broken in than any fault with the pistol. It just needs some rounds put through it to actually get smoothed out, or should I say even more smoothed out. Overall, I was very impressed with that PPKS. Yes, they do put a little bit of a hurting on the wallet, though once you handle one and you shoot one, you begin to see where some of that money actually goes. You're not just buying a fancy brand name, you're buying a quality firearm that's well put together. Overall, I would say the trigger was very smooth, and while a little stouter than some would prefer, because it was so smooth, it was still easy to put shots on target. Normally, we don't start out shooting targets at 15 yards with a pistol, and that we were able to put those hits so easily on that 15-yard target today, I think speaks volumes for the quality of build and potential of these PPK-style pistols. So overall, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. Very fun to shoot, very accurate, and now, thanks Lane, I need to find some room in the special effects budget to try to add one to the channel's stable of 380 firearms. Well, anyway, that seems like the perfect spot to end today's video. If you enjoyed the presentation, like the video, share it with your friends and family, drop a comment on there. Those things are free and they help the channel greatly. If you'd like to help us make more videos like this in the future, look into becoming a member. Fred and I really appreciate you getting this far. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good day. If you haven't been to our website in a while, check out TheBaconNation.com. Not only do we post recent video links to our website, but we also have many of the graphics featured in our videos, like say if you're looking for information on the ADX Cheetah, you can see the graphics that we've used, how some of the ammo has performed we've put through the firearm, and comparison images comparing it versus a number of different firearms. Like for example, how does the ADX stack up size-wise versus the Bodyguard 2.0? And a link to a recent video featuring the firearm. Besides 380s, there's also a section for the other non-380 firearms that we're shooting, like say the CZ P09C Nocturne that we've shot in a few videos now, some comparison images, as well as links to recent videos. If you like our ammo tests, much of the ammo that we've tested so far now has a page on our website. So for example, if you're curious about the Aguila mini shells we recently put through their paces, here are the graphics from that video, along with a link to that video. Some of the breakdown graphics that we don't currently have a dedicated page for, you can also see the graphics for from recent videos, as well as random wildlife pictures if you're into that kind of thing. So again, check out TheBaconNation.com.